Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by. Here to answer some questions about registered agents and also maybe help you with some client onboarding now that you're here on board with vastsolutionsgroup.com and our registered agent services. Thank you for being here. It's a huge pleasure. Obviously, you've entrusted us with an unbelievably important element, though some people think it's small, of asset protection, and that's registered agent services. Here really to answer some questions. So if you have any questions in the chat, please go ahead and provide those questions. We'll try to answer them on the fly. Putting this together, again, to help people to understand a little bit more about registered agent services, what it is that we provide as far as registered agent services, and how it relates to the whole scheme, if you will, of asset protection, mainly for real estate investors. So let's get right to it. Partnership here. Once again, my name is Kenneth French with vastsolutionsgroup.com. We're a co-founding partner of vastassetdefense.com, and we've partnered with such luminary companies as Asset Defense Team and Bob Bloom over there with Asset Defense Team. VastSolutionsGroup.com has been around for since 1969. That's unbelievable to think about. I came on board in 2000. Our moniker, as you can see, tax, finance, artificial intelligence, to help entrepreneurs. How did we get involved in asset protection, or specifically registered agent services? So many of our clients were having issues as they were growing, not having addresses in other states. We said, we can help you out. Luckily, we have, through partnerships, through our own means, we have offices in pretty much every state. So we knew that it was important to help our clients because we did not want them exposed as far as their assets to potentially be seized, or who knows, lose all their assets in general. That's the reason we decided to go down the road of registered agent service provider. And luckily we have, because we've gotten some kudos from a lot of our clients now that we have well over 1,000 clients who are registered agent services. So basically what we're doing is making sure our clients are taking care of a vital part of their asset protection strategy. And usually it's in partnership with law firms, as an example, or sometimes with maybe certified financial advisors, maybe some CPAs, etc. On our team here, Bob Bloom, who's an attorney, as I mentioned, with Asset Defense Team, he actually basically leads vastassetdefense.com. We have Lily Faulkner, who's a big part of vastsolutionsgroup.com, where she is helping basically to run the entity in general. She is basically she's incredible. What she is really, she's very good at business optimization techniques and automating things such as, onboarding, client onboarding, customer service, et cetera, et cetera. What me, VastSolutionsGroup.com, I run it basically. We'll get into a little bit more about me. Now, our team in general, it's not just Bob and I who are doing kind of the important elements of, asset protection, estate planning, taxes, et cetera, et cetera. It's our whole team. So I can't really take credit for everything that we do. I am so glad that we have such a strong team behind us with unbelievable talent. I mean, there's an example. We have an actuary who helps with a thing called pension plans. The guy has been around for 30 years, unbelievably brilliant. Talking to him makes my head explode sometimes. All the way down to, our CPA, Patrick Smith, who knows everything there is to know about prognosticating taxes and lowering taxes. We'll get to that in just a little bit. So anyway, it's our team that's behind us that really is the reason for our success now and how we've been able to expand to pretty much, every state in the union. Just a little bit about myself. Here you see, in the Entrepreneur's Manifesto, a collection of smart financial advice. I see we're getting some questions. We'll get to those in just a moment. I'm glad we're getting some questions. Please, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We're here to answer those. That's really why we're putting this together, as a matter of fact. Not only for onboarding, it's to help answer some questions that you might have. My book I've written, that was my second book. I have 3 books out, working on another one, as a matter of fact. Hence the reason, people call me an expert. You know, I've been working in artificial intelligence really since 2010. We came out with our own model in 2018. I knew artificial intelligence was going to help small business owners, one with tax, one with finance, and also now for business automation. So hence the reason now we're really, that's one of the reasons we're expanding so quickly is people are now coming to us for, artificial intelligence help and kind of applying it to their business. So anyway, they consider me an expert. I've written for Forbes. I was a Forbes.com small business owner contributor, and, I've spoken all over the country about, tax, finance, and again, artificial intelligence. I'm an advisor to a number of trusts. I'm a, consulting trustee to, over 400 plans. So I think I know a thing or two. I've been in the industry and fun. I have a wife I've been married to since 1993 and a son who's keeping me on my toes, I got to tell you. So once again, vastsolutionsgroup.com, we're here to help. We're a service provider. It's all about you, the customer. We need to make you happy. If we can make you happy, we could continue to expand and continue to expand. We've done because we're making you happy. We're here to help. We're going to give you a little bit more information as to how to get in touch with us down the road. So, thanks. We're getting a few more questions. I love it. One of our clients mentioned some good things about us. He's a big name guy, Deval Patel. He's an entrepreneur, the best in the biz, highly recommended. So please do, and he came to us through word of mouth. So please do think of us as a partner with you. We understand the value of the client, and we're here to help you as the client. Even with, something that some people think is a small matter, that being registered agent service, we know how important that is to you as a part of your overall registered agent or asset protection plan. Real quickly, what's the importance of registered agent services? You might only be paying whatever, $100 to $300, probably $300 a year, but it's very important because if there's a lapse in service as far as registered agent goes, you potentially could lose all of the assets in that quote LLC, which is not an LLC if there's a lapse. As far as registered agent services, they could go after other LLCs or other properties, meaning litigants. And then at the same time, on top of that, they can go potentially after your personal assets. So, registered agent services are pretty darn important. Now, registered agent, someone explained to me, and it was actually a kid, we were talking about registered agent services. How would you explain this to, business owners, entrepreneurs? And the person said, the kid said, well, really, if you think about it, it's someone who stands up for a company. Kind of made sense if you really think about it. Registered agent, we represent, when we're acting as a registered agent for a client, we are representing that client and their business to professionals, to potential litigants, to the state, to the feds. So if you think about it, we're standing up for the company. It's as simple as that. A little kid thinking through that process, it kind of makes sense if you really think about it. Anyway, without the service, registered agent service, people are, again, thank you for the questions. I'll get to those in just a moment. People are not in compliance and could be opening themselves up to potential lawsuits, as I mentioned, potentially leading to loss of everything. Do you want to work for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, gain a net worth of $10 million and lose it all? Probably not. Right? Well, having a properly structured estate asset protection plan is important. With it, registered agent service just as important as a component of that. Real quickly, registered agent service provides anonymity. So your name isn't out in the marketplace. People don't know you personally. Have the net worth that maybe some people think would be appropriate for a lawsuit. So that's a good thing. You don't want your name out there. We represent obviously over 1,000 clients. So those people's names are not out there in the marketplace. Physical mailbox, you get a physical mailbox through our services and also assistance with important documents, state and legal documents, federal legal documents, et cetera, et cetera. Taxes as an example. So registered agent service, again, thinking of a kid, they stand up for the company, we stand up for the company. And what we do is we provide anonymity, physical mailbox for business. We can get into that in a little bit, what I mean by physical mailbox, an assistant with important documents. By the way, if you don't have a mailbox or address in the state where your entity is, that's a violation. not in compliance as a result. Real quickly, I'm gonna get to some of the. I might as well get some of these questions right now. Actually, let me get to some of these questions. What is a registered agent? I think I went over that. That came in a little bit earlier. What is a registered agent? Again, using the example of a kid. Well, of the kid who I was talking to. Well, we stand up for the company instead of you representing yourself to the marketplace, which you can't, by the way, typically speaking, because of the fact that you have to be at that address from either 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, depending on the state. You have to represent yourself to the marketplace. And if there's a lawsuit and you are not there during those hours, you might lose it all. There's a very high likelihood that you could potentially lose all of your assets. And if it's not a properly structured registered agent, again, the courts could strike down that entity and all the entities thereafter, and then also you personally, because you were running basically an alter ego, something that wasn't a registered entity, and instead you're acting as a person, even though you're saying you're running it as an LLC. And if it's not a compliant LLC, it could disavow, pierce the corporate veil. I'm sure you've heard that before. You probably have heard that before. Well, you probably don't want anyone to pierce that corporate veil. If you don't have a registered agent that's properly functioning, potentially your corporate veil could be pierced. Let me answer this question. Actually, here we're talking about normal mail. Normal mail. Can we, as a registered agent here at vastsolutionsgroup.com, accept normal mail? Yes, for a fee. It depends. Usually what we do is we receive notices, legal notices, state notices, federal notices, and then also tax notices, etc., regulatory notices. But if someone wants normal business mail, we can accept that normal business mail, but there's a fee. It's a little bit more work, etc., etc. Alerts. By the way, here is very important. If we send you a notice of any type, truly, it could be very, very important. We need you to respond to those notices. So it's very important that you see our alerts. They don't go to spam. They don't go to junk. You see them and respond to them. Lapse. You don't want to have a lapse. You don't want to have a lapse because, again, they could pierce the corporate veil. Litigants could pierce the veil. Let me answer the question. Well, what happens if we don't pay? Does that meaning pay the fee, whatever, $300 a year as an example, and there's a lapse? Yes, that's just like a lapse of, in effect, you didn't have the registered agent service. So what happens is potentially the courts would find that you didn't have a registered agent, an operating registered agent. You didn't have an address. You didn't have anyone who could stand up for the company or receive the service for the company. So what would that mean is, yes, that would be a lapse. Therefore, they could pierce the corporate veil. Even down the road, let's say you have someone sues you and, 5 years down the road and there was a lapse in service. Let's say, again, now as an example, 5 years down the road, they could look back and say you weren't running it as an entity, as a true to life entity, because you didn't have a registered agent at that time. Well, the courts can find that lapse would allow for piercing of the corporate veil. And also, by the way, here I say legitimacy does, by the way, provide legitimacy. The company does have an address in said state, and then it's legitimacy for the entity. How do you get in touch with the registered agents? In general, registered agents are reached out to via email now, much more than ever. We have an app here at vastsolutionsgroup.com called the Vast Vault. You could reach out to us through the app or through any means relative to our website. And by the way, every client here at vastsolutionsgroup.com, with respect to RA, or actually most of our services, you are given a proprietary box built on top of our Einstein system. So you will, and which we'll talk about, so you'll understand exactly what's going on based on that email box. You'll have your own specific box. So you'll see information coming from us. You upload specific information. We go back and forth. Let's go down. Let's got more questions coming in. Funny. One of the questions was, I understand there's a community. Can you explain a little bit more about your community, Vast Vault community? Right now, it's $199 a month. Typically, if you are coming from, I mentioned Bob as an example at Asset Defense Team. If you're coming from him, as we speak right now, You don't have to pay that fee, that $199 fee. Um, uh, the message I just received actually was just about that. Yeah, there's no fee right now. Yes, it is going to be going up. What is that fee, by the way? Let me talk about all that you get for that fee, and that's a monthly fee, $199 a month. And I know it can be steep, but at the same time, for what you get, as you'll see, it probably makes sense. Expertise. You know, we've got some of the top people who are coming and speaking to that group in the Vast Vault community. Also, we have some of the top business leaders in that group. So we are all together fighting this battle of being an entrepreneur. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. You're sometimes feeling like you're alone. This community is filled with like-minded people who are really normally real estate investors, usually solopreneurs, might not sell a widget. They might sell a widget, and they're out there competing in this crazy world that is the marketplace for entrepreneurs. Sharon Lecter, Rich Dad Poor Dad. As a matter of fact, she provides some expertise to the group. Some of her resources are at a discounted rate because we want very solid people coming in, providing input and a resource to our community. That being Sharon Lecter, again, of Rich Dad Poor Dad. She's she provides so much value to our group. It's unbelievable, actually, unbelievable. I really value her. And by the way, she's one of the reasons I got started in the business, that being becoming an entrepreneur. Laura Langmeyer, the millionaire maker. She and I have spoken together numerous times. We've been on boards together numerous times. Her input, her resources are huge, as a matter of fact, to the Vast Vault community. Jonathan Kronstad, we call him Jay Cron sometimes. He started one of the co-founders for Kajabi.com. And, if there's anyone who's a bigger community leader as far as building a community, I can't think of one. Jay Cron really, really understands community. Some of his expertise has helped me to help grow the Vast Vault community, as we say, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. And what I would say is, I would say probably once a quarter. I just saw a question. Once a quarter, Sharon will be a part of the community here. She'll be providing some resources to the community. Actually, on a monthly basis, she'll be providing resource to the community, but she'll be speaking to our community probably about once a quarter. This is funny. Another question about our resources. We have a content library, over 500 documents that are free if you're a Vast Vault community member. Yep. Some of the documents could be very, very expensive, but because you're a member, you don't have to worry about that document. If you're a referral, by the way, some cases you don't have to worry about the $199 a month either. Yes, audios. We have pretty much daily audios that we're uploading, and those truly are, I would say, one of the biggest elements that are helping the entrepreneurs out there. They're helping our Vast Vault community members. And we call, sometimes we call them members, but truly what they are key holders to the vault, to the Vast Vault. Get it? The vault key holders. And why, this is going to sound crazy, but there's so many people who say, well, are there really secrets for business owners? Well, I would say if someone's just brand new starting out, you're going to see, you can construe a lot of the things that we have as far as resources as a secret. And at the same time, even people who've been in industry for a long time, seeing as they're finding value because it's some of the stuff that they've forgotten that now we're just kind of reteaching them. Plus, because of some of the artificial intelligence that we're obviously we've been we're known for because we've been doing it for so long. A lot of old dogs are learning new tricks, if you were, as far as artificial intelligence and also business automation. As far as our publications are readily available out there for the Vast Vault community. Collaboration, we have over 500 people that are spending, anywhere from $0 to $199 a month. So some of the people out there are truly, they're there to help. So they're, because they want to grow. Again, we're all fighting this. Oh my gosh, are we fighting this big battle today in today's world? And one way to do it is by collaborating. That's probably the best way to succeed, collaborating with people that you want to surround yourself with. And I'm glad that we've got some big hitters like Sharon Lecter, Laurel Langmeyer, and Jay Cron. Knew a lot of information, especially artificial intelligence. New information is coming out per day. So you're going to find cutting edge information on a daily basis. just got another question. What happens if we lapse? Now, if we lapse and it's our fault, hey, we take care of it, obviously. Now, let's just say, as an example, you don't pay, right? You don't pay, meaning the whatever $300, whatever the fee is, whatever the circumstance is, that can be construed as lapsed. Depending on the circumstance, sometimes we can even go backwards and fix the lapse. Depends on the state, depends on the regulatory body, et cetera, et cetera. But what I would say is try to be proactive so that does not help. That does not happen, because you don't want that to happen, right? Oh, by the way, I just saw a question. How do I renew? We do that automatically on an annual basis. You'll probably 3 weeks to 4 weeks. Whoops. You'll get a renewal notice from us. So please do, when you, again, what I said earlier, make sure that you, you see our notices and our alerts. Please do take those seriously, because we don't want there to be a lapse in general. Our black box called Einstein. The interesting thing, it sounds a little kind of crazy. We have an Einstein. Everyone thinks of the guy with the white hair, crazy. But now, why did we name it that? Because we knew, especially in 2018, actually 2017, when we were putting it together, that we're going to be thinking well ahead of the marketplace. But the reason we think really the Einstein kind of moniker makes sense is because we're pushing the envelope just like Einstein did, not only with artificial intelligence, but also with quantum computing and plus a number of other tech strategies that are really, really well in advance of the marketplace. All that being said, we know that there's some issues with, as an example, artificial intelligence. We know there's some issues with pushing the envelope. But if we're collaborating and all working together, working with the IRS as an example, working with even the Treasury Department in some cases, we know that we'll be well prepared going forward as a result. We love pushing the envelope. Well, by the way, all the things we do, legal, moral, ethical, we love pushing the envelope to be able to make sure our clients are taken care of. The crazy thing is, a lot of the times, tax providers or even financial planners, not to put them down, they're still in the 80s when they're thinking about some of the tax strategy, if they're doing tax strategy or financial work, as far as wealth management, etc. So that's another reason we believe in Einstein, because he was pushing the envelope mentally, intellectually, et cetera, et cetera. Hence the reason we called it the black box. Real quickly, this isn't only about onboarding, just in general, though. Now I think you understand a little bit more about asset protection, what it is, making sure that someone doesn't take your assets, so you're well prepared. We say having a moat around your business, around your assets, around your estate. Back in the old days, they used to have, the water around castles. Intruders would try to get over the water, but it was pretty hard, especially if they had those spikes, pointing up, you know what I mean, in the water. Well, that'd be a little frightening if, someone's attacking your house, or in this case, your castle, but at the same time, you know that it's well prepared, you're well prepared. At the same time, those spikes up there, people hear about it. Well, they might be a little bit less oriented towards trying to sue you. Same thing with people who are trying to look at your estate. If they know you're well prepared, there's spikes sticking out of that water, they know that you've got a huge moat, very, very deep moat, they're not going to attack you. If you have good asset protection plan in place, like your attorney hopefully has set you up with, you have less reason for worry. Registered agent services, one of our big services. Now, one of the very, very important elements of registered agent services is the ongoing compliance, and we are way, way, way advanced as far as registered agent services, knowing what the issues are in each and every state, et cetera, et cetera. We've provided here with the Vast Vault a community. It's very important that you take part in that community, because that being a part of that community, Vast Vault, might help you take it to the next level. Do you want to stay where you are, or do you want to take it to the next level? Do you want to be like one of the biggest investors there is right now, Sharon Lechter as an example, or Laurel Langmeyer? Those are two of the biggest investors out there, especially who are still coaching and helping people on a daily basis as far as coaching. It's unbelievable. By the way, I'm going to answer the question as far as asset protection. So this is important. An LLC, if you think about it, an LLC is one vital component of asset protection. You have to run that LLC so it's truly, truly unpierceable. Nothing's unpierceable, piercing the corporate veil. But what I would say is the better structured it is, the better off you are, just like registered agent services. The question, registered agent service. So think of this. You could spend a month, I don't know if it's but let's just say it's a month, preparing a great asset protection plan. I mean, rock solid. And then let's say 1 year goes by, you don't renew on your registered agent service, and you say, I don't need a registered agent service. So for 3 years, you don't have registered agent service. Someone sues you. You might have the greatest asset protection plan in place, but because you fell down on the registered agent service, well, that opens up everything. Take care of the ongoing compliance with respect to registered agent services, because it's small, but a powerful element of your asset protection structure. Real quick, let's talk about our other registered agent services. Depends on the circumstance. By the way, I'm answering the question, how much is it? It can be, depending on the circumstance, it could be $150 for registered agent services, all the way to $300. Depends on the marketplace, depends on the circumstance, and it's more if you're getting mail there, by the way. Tax strategy. So one of the services we provide at VastSolutionsGroup.com over and above registered agent services, tax strategy. So the question is, are you paying too much in tax? Maybe that's a reason you get a hold of us about our other services. Tax preparation. Do we do tax preparation? The answer to that is yes. You need your taxes prepared? The answer is yes. Bookkeeping. Do you need bookkeeping services for your entity or real estate? Either one. Do we do those services? The answer to that, yes. Property finance. If you need finance, let's say you have a $10 million building, you have $5 million, you need another $5 million to expand, to be able to, purchase a building. Yeah. Not only, not me per se, but our clients are pretty well heeled, so they say, our average new net worth is $10 million. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I know it's a pretty well heeled group, number one. But number two, what I would say is we also have a relationship with banks through our artificial intelligence system. We have a great connection with over 750 banks. And so if you need some money for some of your real estate, please, we're really interested in helping to finance some real estate deals. AI, artificial intelligence. If you need AI or business automation, yep, that's one of the services that we provide. Yes, as far as bookkeeping, we do bookkeeping even for people who are not registered agent clients. As a matter of fact, we do. Same thing with tax preparation. Actually, for all of our services, not all of our clients use our registered agent services. A big portion of those people do, but it's not necessary. If you're, let's say, you're not a registered agent client, yeah, we still can provide services to you if you're not a registered agent service. Now, this is important because I'm getting a lot of questions about. Wow, a lot of questions about how to get a hold of us. So let's kind of dial in there. Obviously, everything you're going to see a theme, VastSolutionsGroup.com. VastSolutionsGroup.com is our main website. If you're interested in any, let's say, any of those services, tax or bookkeeping or, tax preparation or tax strategy, if you need a qualified plan, if you need rollover, as an example, we have some rollover, meaning investment services as well. Life insurance, we do a lot of the life insurance as well. Go to the VAST website, VastSolutionsGroup.com/contact-us, or you can look at the menu and the drop down would be contact us. Fill that out. Tell us what service you need. We will help you on that. Yes. As far as rollovers, we do have a group that does traditional investments. Usually what we do is work with clients on their tax strategy, their tax preparation, registered agent services, estate planning and asset protection through VastAssetDefense.com. But we do also have an investment arm. That investment arm helps with rollovers. Hopefully I answer your question there, Craig, for rollovers. So let's say, as an example, you work at a 401k, work for a company that have 401k, and you want to roll money over to invest in real estate. Yes, we do help in that typically. Okay. Yes, we do set up 401ks, as a matter of fact. If you're looking for, I'll use that example. Let's say you work at a company, you start your own LLC as an example. You could form an 401k that's called sponsored by that LLC, roll the money into the 401k, and then we make it so you're the trustee. So you're invested in those assets, as a matter of fact. And that's a huge benefit because we make it so you're in control of the assets. Hey, not to put down financial planners. Again, we have a group that does basically that, investment advising. But what I would also say, though, is it makes it nice if you care about your assets probably more than anyone. If you can then control the assets, if we make you the trustee of your 401k, you do the rollover. I was just talking to a lady, $350,000. She wants to roll those assets over to a 401k. She's the trustee. She can direct where those assets go, where those investments go. It's pretty nice. Yes, also, we do defined benefit plans. I mean, those sometimes can help with huge tax savings. I mean, we have one client just got a text or an email from, he's been putting in about $300,000 a year, saving in California over $100,000 in taxes. The nice thing about that is that, he's really trying to save for retirement. So a nice element for him is he can put away a lot more than he can in an IRA, more than he can in a, 401k, more than he can even a cash balance plan in his circumstance. But, he could put away a lot of money into his defined benefit plan, gets him prepared for retirement. Number one, then number two, tax savings would be huge. Also, I had a question about support. Let me, for support, how do we provide customer support? Go to our website, vastsolutionsgroup.com/support, right? Or, and I'm going to get to another strategy, another way of getting to us as far as customer support. Fill out that form, and then we will, it's basically everything's automated. You get a ticket number, and then we make sure that the process is automated so we can follow up on whatever the issue is. Usually registered agent work, there's a bunch of stuff that goes behind the scenes, but you don't see all the work that actually takes to get the registered agent work done. But what I would say, though, is there might be some issues. There might be an issue with the state. They might have emailed us. We emailed you. The state's wrong, et cetera. So we go back and forth. So anyway, the best way to get a hold of us with respect to that, if there's an issue with filing, et cetera, vastsolutionsgroup.com/support. A question about the contact us. Yep. Yeah. There's the question is, what if there's something that's outstanding, not in line with the contact us form? Just put it in the description portion. We'll go ahead and help in that regard. Community, if you want to be a part of the community, again, the overall theme, vastsolutionsgroup.com. You probably, because you're watching this or listening to this, you probably do already have access to our community. But if you don't, go to our website, go to the drop-down menu, which will say vastsolutionsgroup.com /vast-vault-communities. There you'll get information on the free community, on the paid community, and then a little bit of information on our YouTube community as well. And hey, there's the old school way of getting a hold of us. If you need some help, need some information, want one of our services not talked about thus far, info@vastsolutionsgroup.com. Yeah. So that's funny. Someone's asking about the free book. Sometimes I do give out the free book that I talked about earlier in the presentation. The Entrepreneurs, I'll do it. The Entrepreneur's Manifesto, a collection of smart financial advice. It's one of the books that I've written. It's, I was a small business contributor for Forbes.com. And basically what I did was I put together a whole bunch of articles that I've written over the years and put it into a book. It's basically a manuscript, kind of threw it together. But, I had one lady say that one piece of advice saved her $100,000. Hopefully it saved a lot more than that for people. But anyway, yeah, go ahead and email us. Speaking of info@vastsolutionsgroup.com. Go ahead and give us your address, write book. I'll send this book out for free. Again, The Entrepreneur's Manifesto, a collection of smart financial advice. We'll go ahead and email that out to you. Just put book and give us your address. As I mentioned earlier, I was going to say something a little bit about the app. Yeah, go to the App Store or Google Play Store, if you will. The Vast Vault Community. There you can download the app. As long as we have your address, you can download the app. The app itself is free to be a part of the community as long as you're a registered agent client, that we talked about before. You don't have to worry about the $199, at least for the short term. Depending on when you see or listen to this, that offer might be off the table because it's just a promotional thing as we're doing it right now. But so I'm going to have that caveat. But download the app. It's an app that even if you go down the free community option, if you want access to a community that you're getting a lot of value, even in the free portion, and that's growing left and right, by the way, go ahead, download, and go to the App Store, download the app. You'll be happy you did. What I would say is I'm going to answer a couple other questions here. Yep. Okay. Let me answer that. That's an important question. So, if let's say that you started LLC a couple of years back. Hold on. Let me read this. If you started the LLC a couple of years back, it's in another state, you haven't taken care of the registered agent. How about this? Just reach out to us. Email me at info@vastsolutionsgroup.com, and that'd be more simple. Then we could talk about some of the specifics about that, because it depends on the state. Hey, Paulette. Yeah, that's a really good question. That's a really, really, really good question. What I would say is you should talk to your estate planning attorney. The question is, I have 4 properties and I have them all in one LLC. Is that smart? Depends on the circumstance. Depends on your risk profile. But if, generally speaking, I'll just speak from my personal experience. I like to buy way below value. So I like to have instant equity in my properties. Actually, I always have. I've been very lucky. I have one property per LLC because that instant equity, I don't want someone to come after me and go after that equity and then go after another LLC's equity and another. So what I do is, instead of having all my properties in one LLC, so because again, think of this. This is important as far as asset protection. Let's just say you have 4 properties in one LLC. Let's just say the value of them, just to be simple, is $1 million. Let's say I have $200,000 in debt, so I have $800,000 in equity. Someone goes after one property, they can go after the rest of the equity in the other properties, right? But if I have them siloed, or one LLC with, as an example, one property, I owe $100,000, but it's worth $200,000, and then the litigant successfully goes after the assets, gets my asset. They can only go after the asset if it's properly structured. They have good LLC, good, registered agent, operative, etc. They can only go after the assets in that one LLC. They can't. It's hard, the way we put them together. It's hard to pierce the corporate veil. So what does that mean? I just will lose that one property in that example. So what I would say is, generally speaking, your situation, you should go back, talk to your advisor, go talk to your legal expert, your asset protection expert. But what I would say is, I like it when I have one property per LLC. And usually LLC is the proper structures, proper entity to work with as far as if I'm a real estate investor. Each circumstance is unique. What I should say about all the stuff, I really should say, you have to go back to your advisor, to your tax attorney, asset protection attorney, estate planning attorney, et cetera, because they know your situation best. But now, if they don't know your situation best, or they don't understand some of these concepts, asset protection isn't your attorney's expertise, if you will, reach out to us. There's a reason we did the strategic alliance with Bob and his team over at Asset Defense Team, because we want to be a one-stop shop for any real estate investor, for any solopreneur. So they were taken care of, because man, when you're swimming in turbulent waters that would be entrepreneurship, man, if you have one spot to go to, it's so much easier. That's what we found. The reason we did the strategic alliance is because we wanted to make it much more simple for business owners. And we've grown left and right. So we know that it's working out. We know it was a smart decision. So hopefully that answers your question. I have another question. Yeah. That's a very unique situation, but I'm gonna go ahead and respond. Um, you can act as your own registered agent. The issue is, so let's say as an example, like me, I live in Washington State. I want to act as my own registered agent. The only issue is if I'm not there in Washington, you have to be there from 8 to 5 p.m., right? So meaning if someone's going to sue me, if I'm not there and someone tries to serve me, it goes down, it could go to the courts as an example. The court showed that, I didn't have a properly structured registered agent. And so the corporate veil could be pierced. I could get a charging order. I could, in effect, basically because I didn't have a properly structured registered agent, someone wasn't there answering the door from 8 to 5 in Washington State, as an example, they could automatically, the litigant can end up winning that case, right? So that's the reason you typically don't want to be your own registered agent. It's because you're not, in that case, it's not operating the business. I wouldn't have been there in my example from 8 to 5. Also, you have to be able to answer the phone from 8 to 5, depending on the circumstance, on the state. And definitely, if you're not checking your emails, you're on vacation, et cetera, again, the corporate veil can be pierced. I'm not going to say it's impossible. If someone can orient their life to, receive such service, more power to them. But generally speaking, for whatever, $200-$300 a year, per entity, let's say, remember, per entity, it makes sense to, have someone else. Plus, oh, by the way, it's really important to, stay up on all the different state ordinances. So if you don't, as far as if you're doing your own registered agent work and you don't keep up to speed, that can be huge issues. That's one of the things we do. That's why I say we do a lot of the stuff in the back rooms, if you will, preparing for when we see you up in the front room. Question. Yes, the book. Remember this book, if you joined us late, I said that, if you email info@vastsolutionsgroup.com, we're going to give a copy of my book that I've written, a collection of articles, The Entrepreneur's Manifesto, a collection of smart financial advice. I'll just give you a couple of kind of items that are of note in the book. Potential IRS red flags for entrepreneurs, key lessons about long-term investments, IRA withdrawal lessons, ideas about health savings accounts, 10 bad money mistakes to avoid, essential estate planning ideas, and a lot of those are in consultation with my buddy Bob over Asset Defense team. Again, he's a co-founding partner of VastAssetDefense.com. But anyway, hopefully that helps you. Again, email info@vastsolutionsgroup.com. Give us your address, and we'll send you a book. A few more questions here. Yeah. VastSolutionsGroup.com. If you go to any of, here you see contact us. There's a drop-down menu. Okay, answer the question. I answered the question there. Already got it. Okay. So let me ask. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much. Got one compliment that, as far as registered agent goes, we've supplied some good services to a lot of people, and hence the fact that it looks like we're growing because someone just gave us a referral, which I like. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joanne. Okay. Unless there are if there are any other questions going forward, just go ahead and email us at info@vastsolutionsgroup.com. info@vastsolutionsgroup.com. Looks like there's no other questions. If you have any input on these presentations, we're always trying to better ourselves. Again, we've been around since 1969, but the only way we've grown to the extent we have is by doing research and listening to our clients and providing cutting edge service. Whatever we need to do to make ourselves better, we will do. Because if we can do something that would help you out there, you will probably end up doing business with us, giving us referrals, not only doing registered agent business with us, but also probably doing other services with us. So once again, this is Kenneth French, vastsolutionsgroup.com. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, this has been fun for me. I'm excited that you spent this time with us. Once again, thank you very much. Kenneth French with vastsolutionsgroup.com.